What's up and welcome back to the overdue part 4 of saving the vintage Gretsch kit. Jumping right into it and committing vintage drum blasphemy, I begin by spraying the interiors of the shells. With a few coats of Rust-Oleum's metallic aluminum, I go from insanely hideous to moderately ugly, without going overboard. After drying for a few hours, I remove the tape and then tape up the insides to begin the next step. I chose to use this Kona color because it was closer to what I had originally thought the drum set might have been, but did end up a bit lighter than I had planned on. Next, after wiping the shell down with a slightly damp cloth, I then go in with the stain and really work it into the grain. Doing the space, I guess, where each lug would sit at a time, making sure not to get too carried away, and going back over and blending in where I was previously at before I re-dipped my rag. Waiting about 10 to 15 minutes between each coat, I repeat the process. And here you can see a side-by-side comparison after about 4 coats of stain. I then repeat the process on the remaining shells, focusing on only one at a time and enjoying the characteristics of the wood grain in each one that I do. After several coats of clear and a few days of drying time, it's time to knock back that top layer of that hazy orange peel and bring everything to a nice even shine. Now, with a 2000 grit sandpaper soaked in a little bit of soapy water, I ever so lightly sand until I get a milky consistency of water coming off of the drum shell. Making sure while I'm doing this to keep the drum shell wet with water droplets so I don't snag any dry spots and ruin the finish. There are tons of videos on the wet sanding process, so please go watch them because my description was extremely vague, and I apologize. Moving on, after letting the shells dry another few days, this is it. This is the home stretch. We are back to putting everything together and making it a drum set again. And as always, before putting the lug back on, I like to pack it with cotton to reduce the vibration of the spring that holds the swivel nut in. Putting those in by hand first, before using a tool to ensure that I do not cross thread or strip anything out. And this little sucker, I don't know if it is original to the kit or not. If you do know, please comment below. But these go onto the screws on the interior of the shells that hold on the muffling system. Whatever it is, it came off of the drum and into the bag, back out of the bag, and back onto the drum. And speaking of bags, this is the last one to empty and put back onto the drum, and I am done. As you can see, it is far from perfect, far from original, but far better than the condition that I had got it in. I still need to get the vent hole grommets in order to put the original stop sign badges back on, and I need to refinish the bass drum hoops to match the rest of the kit. But overall, I am extremely happy with the way things turned out, and after I tweak a few things and get some tuning done, I will post a video of me playing. In the meantime, thank you all for following along while I restored this vintage Gretsch kit. And until next time, drums, drums, drums.